What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. In this video, I'm going to be shooting my elephant gun at some level 4 ceramic body armor made by LA Police Gear. And the purpose of this test is to see if an elephant gun can penetrate through the toughest body armor available, and that's level 4 body armor. And the rifle I'm going to be shooting today is my Ruger M77 Hawkeye guide gun, chambered in 416 Ruger. And the 416 Ruger is an elephant gun cartridge that was developed by Hornady and Ruger. And the cartridge was designed to duplicate the ballistics of the tried and true 416 Rigby, as well as the 416 Remington Magnum, but to be able to do it in a standard length cartridge, because the 416 Rigby and 416 Remington Magnum are Magnum length cartridges, and Ruger wanted to develop a dangerous game cartridge that they could chamber in their Ruger M77 Hawkeye actions, which are not made to Magnum length. And so Hornady developed the 416 Ruger, and this is what the 416 Ruger cartridges look like. As you can see, they're quite massive. The most common grain weights are between 350 and 450 grains. The classic loading is a 400 grain bullet traveling at 2,400 feet per second, and that generates over 5,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy and can penetrate through several feet of tissue. And that loading has been used for over 100 years by safari hunters hunting the Big Five in Africa. So the 416 Ruger basically duplicates the 416 Rigby, but in a standard length action. And these rounds can generate between 5,000 and 5,500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. And some of these bullets are actually steel jacketed, and the manufacturer uses the word steel jacket, but really they're like 60 to 70% steel. Most of the nose in the solids are steel, and just a little bit of lead is put in the base of the bullet just to help with keeping the length of the bullet from being too long so it doesn't take up powder space. So it'll be interesting to see if these steel jacketed bullets are going to be able to penetrate through the level 4 body armor. So I want to just give you a close-up look at the rifle that I'm going to be shooting. And so the rifle I'm going to be using in this test is my Ruger M77 Hawkeye guide gun. And I am going to be using a muzzle brake because I'm going to be shooting off the bench, and I don't really feel like getting hit with a scope or getting pounded by recoil unnecessarily, so I will be using a muzzle brake here. I have night sights on this rifle that were custom made by a company called Tooltech Gun Sight, and I have done reviews of their products before. I will be doing a review of these sights here. I have an Athlon 1:6 power by 24 scope here, and it's a second focal plane scope, which I prefer for dangerous game, because with a first focal plane the reticle is going to be too fine on low power settings, and for dangerous game you're not going to be shooting past 200 yards, so second focal plane is fine for me. And I have these Alaska Arms LLC quick detach steel rings. These are great. I have tested these. I will be doing an updated review of them, but I have tested them, and they will return to zero pretty much within half MOA. They'll return to zero. I did change the stock. Normally the Ruger guide guns come with a laminated stock, which I think is inadequate for a dangerous game rifle, and I upgraded to this Hogue full-length bed block stock. This has a full-length aluminum bed block, which I think is critical for a heavy recoiling gun like this 416 Ruger. And I have this cartridge cuff made by Mason Leather, if you want to get yourself a cartridge cuff made of leather, made in the USA, check out masonleather.com. And you can use my promo code NY10 to get 10% off. And what I love about this cartridge cuff is that it holds the rounds perfectly, not too tight, not too loose, and obviously it looks great. It's handmade leather, but some of these cheaper nylon cartridge cuffs, the loops start to get stretched out, and what happens is over time your rounds will fall out on the ground. But these are perfect. They hold the rounds just right so you can pull them out quickly, but they're snug enough where they're not going to fall out by accident. And just look at that beautiful leather work. And for those of you guys who don't know, the Ruger M77 Hawkeye rifles are controlled round feed. So they have a Mauser style claw extractor. Okay, and I got these Vortex Defender flip caps for my scope. And the ammunition I'm going to be using, first I'm going to start with the solids. I'm going to start with the Hornady 400 grain Dangerous Game Solid. This is a steel jacketed bullet. It has a round nose and it has a muzzle velocity of 2,400 feet per second, and it can generate 5,100 foot-pounds of muzzle energy out of my 20-inch barrel Ruger guide gun. And I have chronograph tested all of these loads. So all of these numbers I'm giving you, I have confirmed the velocities out of my 20-inch barrel Ruger guide gun, and I'll attach a link at the top of this video to that chronograph test. So the steel jacketed DGS will be the first one. Second one will be the Buffalo Bore 350 grain monometal. This is a solid copper alloy bullet, and I've chronographed it at 2,675 feet per second, generating 5,500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, guys. A 350 grain bullet traveling at almost 2,700 feet per second. That is just ridiculous. Then I'm going to move into some expanding bullets. I'm going to shoot this Buffalo Bore 400 grain TSX, and I've chronographed this one at 2,425 feet per second, also generating around 5,100 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. This is a solid copper expanding bullet. And then I'm going to finish up with the Hornady DGX bonded, and this is a steel jacketed bullet that has a hard alloy lead core, and the steel jacket is bonded to the hard cast lead core or hard alloy core. It's a high antimony lead, and this is what the nose looks like. You can see the lead exposed there. It's a flat nose, but it does have a steel jacket, and it is bonded to that high antimony lead core. And this one travels at 2,400 feet per second out of my 20-inch barrel Ruger guide gun and generates 5,100 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. So I'm going to be shooting at the body armor from a distance of about 30 yards, and at the end of the test I'm going to try to recover some of the bullet fragments, and I'm going to actually open up the plate and see up close what the bullets actually did to the plate. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the video. Alright guys, 416 Ruger, 400 grain Dangerous Game Solid, steel jacketed bullet, traveling at 2,400 feet per second at the muzzle and generating 5,100 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. Let's see if it can't penetrate some level 4 ceramic body armor from LA Police Gear. All right, guys, so 416 Ruger, Hornady, 400 grain, dangerous game solid with a muzzle velocity of 2,400 feet per second and a muzzle energy of 5,100 foot-pounds. Steel jacketed bullet did not penetrate this level 4 ceramic plate from LA Police Gear. Now, initially I thought it did because of this huge hole here in the sandbag. I thought that maybe it punched through the plate and it ripped apart the sandbag, but this sandbag actually just got ripped apart because of the impact. You can see it left this huge bulge in the back of the plate here. So look at that, guys, huge bulge there, but it did not pass through. Okay, no pass through at all. You can see it's still intact. Okay, pretty impressive. And it actually captured the bullet. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's in there. It's in the back. And what I'll do is at the end of the video, I'm going to pull all the bullets out and we'll take a closer look at them and take a closer look at the armor or the plate to see what kind of damage was done. But so far, first shot, elephant gun, 416 Ruger, 400 grain, dangerous game solid, steel jacketed bullet, was not able to penetrate this level 4 ceramic plate from LA Police Gear. So I'm going to put my bungee cords back on and we're going to take a few more shots. And the energy from that shot just launched the bungee cord that was going over the top of the plate, just launched it couple of feet in the air. Check that out. It's all the way in the back over there. So I'm going to reset this thing and we're going to take a few more shots and see what happens, but I don't think it's going to be able to pass through. And there's actually a big bulge on the side here, which is interesting. That's probably some of the steel jacket probably shot out to the side and it got captured here. So we're going to take a few more shots and see what happens. All right, guys, so now we're going to try another solid or penetrator. This is the Buffalo Bore 350 grain mono metal, and it's a solid copper bullet with a flat nose. I have actually chronographed these, and they go around 26.75 in my 20-inch barrel Ruger guide gun. So 5,500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, solid copper flat nose bullet. Let's see what it does to that level 4 ceramic plate from LA Police Gear. Wow, that impact was crazy. Alright guys, so the Buffalo Bore mono metal traveling at 2,675 feet per second, generating 5,500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, did not penetrate the LA Police Gear level 4 ceramic plate. So now we're going to move on to some expanding bullets. Here we got a Buffalo Bore 400 grain TSX Triple Shock X. This is a solid copper hollow point, and I've actually chronographed this load out of my Ruger guide gun, and it can travel 2,425 feet per second. So let's see what it does to this plate. Alright guys, so the Buffalo Bore 400 grain TSX did not penetrate the LA Police Gear level 4 ceramic plate. So we're going to take the last shot today with Hornady Dangerous Game Expanding Bonded. And this is a steel jacketed bullet that has a bonded lead core and a flat nose. You can see that exposed lead. It is bonded to the steel jacket. So let's see what this one does to that plate. I don't think it'll penetrate through, but maybe the steel jacket will cut through the Kevlar. I don't know. Let's see what happens. All right, guys, so I want to just show you the plate up close, and what I'm going to do is open the plate up and take a closer look at the damage that was done to the plate so we can see exactly how much damage the 416 Ruger elephant gun did to this level 4 ceramic plate from LA Police Gear. But the 416 Ruger elephant gun did not penetrate through this level 4 ceramic plate from LA Police Gear. I took 4 shots, 2 solids, 2 expanding bullets, and they did not penetrate. They did do a ton of damage though. As you can see, huge holes here on the face of the plate and some massive bulges on the back. Okay, look at these bulges here, guys. That is just absolutely insane. Look at this bulge. This was from the 400 grain DGX bonded, and you can see that bulge is basically the size of my fist. So this is bulging out probably 2 inches from the back of the plate, and even though it didn't pass through, as you can see, it did not pass through, but you don't want to be hit, with this round while you're wearing any kind of plate, because the kinetic energy and these bulges are going to break your ribs and rupture organs. The impact is just going to be crazy, possibly even stop your heart. It's just a ton of kinetic energy being dumped on this plate here. So I'm going to open this plate up and we're going to take a closer look, but I wanted to just show you what it looked like before I do that. And you can see these massive holes here. So this is where I hit with the 400 grain DGS. That's the steel jacketed solid from Hornady. Over here, just about 2 inches below, I hit with the Buffalo Bore 350 grain mono metal. That's the solid copper alloy bullet. Down here on the lower left part, I hit with the Buffalo Bore 400 grain Triple Shock X. That's the solid copper hollow point expanding bullet. And then on the lower right, I hit with the Hornady 400 grain DGX bonded, and that's the steel jacketed soft point with a bonded lead core, and the lead core is a hard alloy lead. It's not a soft lead. So massive amount of damage, guys. And as you probably saw in the video, when these rounds hit the plate, they just completely vaporized the ceramic, and you could see the white cloud of ceramic dust from when these elephant gun rounds were hitting the plate and just completely vaporizing the ceramic. You can see here all this ceramic that's missing. Look at that, guys. This huge area of ceramic is just missing. Over here, lots of missing ceramic. So pretty crazy damage to this plate. Again, look at these bulges, guys. This was the bulge from the DGS, the bulge here from the 350 grain mono metal. There's the bulge from the TSX, and then here's the bulge from the DGX bonded, and it looks like the DGX bonded created the largest bulge, and that's very interesting. And the reason why is because even though the DGX bonded is the softest bullet out of all of these, the hardest bullet was the DGS, which has the steel jacket. The second hardest was the copper alloy solid, the 350 grain mono metal. The third hardest bullet was the 400 grain TSX, and then the softest bullet, the DGX bonded. And it just dumped a massive amount of energy here. I mean, just look at this bulge, guys. I mean, I have big hands, okay, and this bulge is probably about 4 or 5 inches in diameter, okay, and just look at how it just comes right off the back, probably about 2 inches, okay, just insane. But the reason why the DGS bonded created the biggest bulge is that after hitting the plate with 3 rounds, a lot of the ceramic was vaporized already, so the only thing left to stop the bullets was the Kevlar. So as a result, there wasn't as much ceramic to absorb the kinetic energy and dissipate the kinetic energy, so it was all going into the Kevlar, and as a result it caused a lot of deformation. Also, because the DGX bonded is a soft point bullet, it dumps a lot more of its energy into the plate versus the solids. They'll ricochet, they'll break apart into larger chunks, or if they don't break apart, they'll just completely bounce off the plate and ricochet, versus a soft point will dump all of its energy right into the plate. It doesn't ricochet as much, okay? But here you can see from the DGS, you could see that the cloth here was cut by either a piece of ceramic or steel shrapnel. Okay, it just sliced this clean cut here. Also, I don't know if the whole bullet kind of ricocheted up, but you can see here that there's a cut in the material, and it appears that either the entire DGS bullet ricocheted out of the plate or maybe just a piece of it. But here you can see all these layers of Kevlar. Look at how much Kevlar, guys. That is just insane. Just lots and lots of layers of Kevlar in there. But it looks like what happened was it hit the Kevlar and then it bounced up. So we'll confirm that when I open up this plate and we take a closer look, but that's pretty crazy. Also, you can see on this side, a huge chunk of ceramic popped out the side. Okay, check that out. Just a big piece just shot right out the side. And this ceramic is pretty thick. The ceramic here looks like about a 1/2 inch thick. Okay, look at that ceramic there. Pretty thick ceramic. I'm guessing it's 1/2 inch thick ceramic, okay? So, just wanted to show you guys the plate here before I open it up. And we'll take a closer look. I'll show you guys the bullet fragments, but the .416 Ruger elephant gun did not pass through this level 4 ceramic plate from LA Police Gear. So there you guys have it. Level 4 ceramic plates can stop an elephant gun cartridge. So stay tuned, and I'm going to open this plate up. We're going to take a closer look and see how deep into the Kevlar the different rounds penetrated and if we can recover some fragments. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so I took apart the plate. I want to just show you the guts. And for those of you guys who have never seen the inside of a ceramic plate, this is what it looks like. You basically just have your outer covering, which is just made of this nylon. Okay, it's nothing fancy. It's just like a nylon, kind of almost like a neoprene material. And what they do is they just glue it all around the plate. And then what you have is you have a layer of ceramic. And this is our ceramic layer. And they have these tiles. And what they do is they glue the tiles together. Okay, and there's foam all around it. You can see the foam here all around the ceramic tiles. And then the ceramic tiles are attached to several layers of Kevlar. And you can see on this level 4 plate how many layers of Kevlar there is. Look at all that Kevlar. I mean, you're probably looking at, I don't know, dozens of layers of Kevlar in this. So what happens is when the bullet hits the plate, the ceramic absorbs a lot of the initial energy, and then after the ceramic absorbs the energy, the Kevlar absorbs the rest of the energy and dissipates it, okay? But I want to just show you the damage that was done to the ceramic here. Just a massive amount of damage. Look at that, guys. These were the two solids, okay? This was the DGS up here. This was the 350 grain monometal. TSX and DGX bonded, and you can see that the solids actually damaged the ceramic more than the expanding bullets, okay? Which is really interesting. And it's just crazy how much damage they did. Look at the back of this plate, guys. I mean, a lot of the ceramic is missing. I'm sure if I kept shooting at this plate, eventually there would be a pass-through. But look at the missing ceramic here from the two solids, okay? And if you noticed in the video, that first hit with the DGS up here just completely vaporized a lot of the ceramic. There's one tile missing here. There's a tile missing over here. But look at all the ceramic here that's missing. It just got completely vaporized into dust, which is incredible. And you can see that the holes from the expanding bullets were not as large as from the solids, which is interesting. Okay? And the reason why is because the solids, they don't open up, so a lot of the fragments of the bullet from the solids ricochet outwards into different directions versus the expanding bullets. They kind of just open up and they're captured by the Kevlar, but the solids will break apart into big pieces of shrapnel, or they'll just completely ricochet, and that does more damage to the ceramic. Okay, but look at this, guys. Look at the destruction. This was just from 4 hits, okay? Just 4 hits. Look at the damage on that ceramic here. That is just absolutely insane, okay? Probably almost half of the ceramic is missing just from 4 shots. I'm sure if I hit 1 or 2 more shots up here, I could have completely annihilated the ceramic from this part of the plate. But ammo is expensive and it's hard to find, so I wasn't about to waste ammo, okay? So that's what the ceramic looks like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to see if I could find any fragments in the Kevlar here. You can already see one fragment up here. Okay, we got one little copper fragment there. All right. So I'm going to dig into these. So I'm going to dig into this Kevlar and see what I can find. But before I do that, I want to just show you guys. Look at all this ceramic dust on the table here. Ceramic and lead everywhere. These are chunks of lead mixed in. Looks like we have a little bit of lead here. But look at that dust, guys. Elephant gun just vaporized that ceramic. So I'm going to dig into this Kevlar and see what we can find. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So I took apart the Kevlar, and the 416 Ruger elephant gun penetrated through about half of the Kevlar in this level 4 ceramic plate from LA Police Gear. So that's pretty impressive. I'm sure if I kept shooting at it, it would eventually penetrate through. It's just that there's an ammo shortage now, so I didn't want to dump a whole box into this plate. But I think if I kept shooting probably 20 or 40 rounds with the DGS, the steel jacketed solids, I think it would eventually penetrate through the Kevlar. And the reason why is that the DGS is made of steel, and the steel just cuts through the Kevlar. But there were a lot of fragments that I found, and this is why if you're going to do these types of tests, you really want to be careful. I could not recover the DGS. I could only recover the jacket and parts of some of the bullets, but I could not recover an entire bullet, just small pieces. So if you're doing a test like this, make sure you're far enough away, at least 25 yards. And if you noticed in the video, I angled the plate just a little bit upwards. So this way, if it does ricochet, it's going to ricochet up, and it's not going to ricochet directly back towards me. So you either want to angle the plate to the left or to the right, or you want to angle it upwards. The best thing to do is to angle the plate upwards. Okay, so basically the top of the plate is angled back a little bit from the bottom, because I could not recover a lot of the bullets. Most of the bullets were fragmented, and I could not recover a whole bullet, so those chunks had to go somewhere. And this is why you want to give a good distance, at least 25 yards. I was a little bit nervous even at 25 yards. Look at all these fragments here, all the chunks of lead and ceramic. You know, if you're too close to the plate, you're going to get chunks of ceramic like this, really sharp ceramic that could come back and embed itself into your body. You know, you got chunks of lead here Look at these little pieces of lead, okay? So you want to keep a good distance if you're doing a test like this. And I don't recommend you guys do this test if you don't know what you're doing and you're not an experienced shooter. Do not try this because there is a lot of risk involved. But the 416 Ruger elephant gun penetrated through about half of the Kevlar. Okay, these are all the sheets of Kevlar that it penetrated through. You could see a good amount of Kevlar, probably about, I would say, 1/4 of an inch of Kevlar that it penetrated through. Look at all these layers of Kevlar. And if we squeeze it together, you could see it's about 1/4 of an inch. So that's a lot of Kevlar, guys. And then here's the rest of the Kevlar that was not penetrated. And you could see about 1/4 inch of Kevlar left, okay, that was not penetrated. So this is the part that was not penetrated, okay. So you could see about 1/4 inch of Kevlar was not penetrated. And then if we compare the two together, you can see that the 416 Ruger penetrated through about half of the Kevlar, okay? So I personally believe if I kept shooting at this plate, once the ceramic got vaporized completely, which wouldn't take much, probably just another 3 or 4 well-placed shots would completely annihilate the rest of the ceramic. If I put one here, and maybe one down there, all the ceramic would be vaporized, and then all of the energy would be absorbed by the Kevlar, and then at that point the Kevlar is not as strong by itself, so eventually it would pass through. So I want to just go through all these sheets of Kevlar with you one by one and just show you the damage that was done. And the 400 grain DGS penetrated the deepest into the Kevlar out of all of them, followed by the 350 grain mono metal, and then the TSX, and then the DGX bonded, which makes sense because we're going from hardest, which is the DGS, down to the softest, which was the DGX bonded, okay? So I'm going to go through all of these one by one and we'll take a closer look. And this is what some of that lead dust and fragmentation looks like. And there was a lot more that I already swept away, but look at all this lead dust, okay? So there is some danger involved in shooting at ceramic plates because you got these big chunks here that can come back at you. So just remember that. Look at all these pieces of lead everywhere. But pretty impressive results with this LA Police Gear level 4 ceramic plate. Alright guys, so let's go through this Kevlar sheet by sheet. And this is the first kind of layers of Kevlar glued together. I don't know how many sheets are in here, but you can see it's about, I would say, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch thick. They all pass through, okay, and you can see all the lead dust here from the DGX bonded. You can see the TSX left a lot of these little holes from the pieces of copper that blew apart from the bullet. Okay, but look at this big hole from the DGX bonded. Pretty crazy, guys. And lots of lead dust in here. Okay, look at that. Here we have the 2 holes from the solids here. Here we have the DGS solid. And here we have the 350 grain mono metal. Okay, and then I'll show you guys the back here. And you can see there's actually a lead fragment embedded in here. There's actually 2 lead fragments embedded. Pretty crazy. Look at that. Okay, but the rest of them are pretty clean. No fragments from the DGS, mono metal, or TSX. But the DGX bonded left a lot of fragmentation in this first layer of Kevlar. And as you can see, it's about, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch thick. Moving on to the second layer of Kevlar, you can see the second layer pretty much captured both of the expanding bullets, the TSX and the DGX bonded. and you can see just a ton of lead fragments and dust inside here, okay? But look at this huge bulge or dent, whatever you want to call it, from the DGX bonded. The TSX leaving a clean rip here, no fragmentation. And then the solids still passing through. But again, this is probably another layer of several sheets of Kevlar, about a 1/16 of an inch thick, okay? But check out all that lead dust in there. Just completely pulverized this DGX bonded, which is a really tough bullet. These DGX bonded bullets, I've tested them extensively. I could penetrate through 8 2x10 Douglas fir framing joists with the DGX bonded, which is the same amount of penetration as a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum with 440 grain hard cast bare loads, or as much penetration as a 4570 with 500 grain full metal jackets. So the DGX bonded is no lightweight, so pretty impressive that this Kevlar was able to just pulverize it. Here's the third layer of Kevlar. You can see it's pretty thin, but you could see the solids kept going through. The TSX kind of just ripped the surface here, and no pass through with the DGX bonded, okay? But look at the hole from the DGS. The DGS penetrated through the most layers of Kevlar. And then here's a nice little clean hole from the 350 grain monometal. It just looks like someone took a hole puncher and just punched a little hole, but the DGS is really the star of the show. And the DGS, in my opinion, is the best bullet for the .416 Ruger or any .416 caliber rifle. It just works really well, that steel jacket, and it's really not a jacket. The nose of the bullet is pretty much mostly steel, so it's going to pass through pretty much anything, okay? And then I'll just show you guys the back here. You can see that clean hole from the 350 grain monometal, and then this giant hole from the DGS. And then here we're in the final sheets here, okay? So here you can see that the 350 grain monometal still kind of passing through, leaving a tiny hole. And then the DGS, just a massive hole here. And you can see also some lead dust. That's probably from the very small lead core in the back of the bullet that probably shot out the back. Okay, and I'm guessing the DGS probably tumbled a little bit. That's why there's that huge hole there, okay? But just a very thin layer of Kevlar here. And then these are our final sheets here. You can see DGS over here. Okay, you can see the cuts here from probably the steel jacket. And there's actually a piece of steel embedded into the Kevlar here. I'm going to see if I can pull that out. And then just a clean hole from that 350 grain monometal. All right, but you can see the slices here from that steel jacket. You can see it looks like someone took a knife and just cut through it. Okay, that would kill you. If that steel got through this Kevlar, the whole bullet doesn't have to pass through, but if a chunk of steel just sliced through and got inside of you, that would do some damage, cut some blood vessels, and you would likely bleed pretty bad. And look at that little hole there. That's pretty cool. And then here's the last layer of Kevlar. You can see that 350 grain monometal little chunk there, just a very tiny hole. And then some cuts here from the 400 grain DGS. All right, and then just some cuts here on the back, little hole there. So pretty interesting, guys. I'm going to show you some of the fragments now. But again, look at all these sheets of Kevlar that the .416 Ruger penetrated through, and about half of all of the Kevlar, okay, it penetrated about half of the Kevlar. So I might repeat this test in the future and just focus my solids, forget the expanding bullets. I may just take out the solids and just dump like 10 or 20 rounds into a plate and see what happens. But I'm going to show you guys some of the fragments now that I recovered. Alright guys, so these are the fragments that I recovered. Here on the left, you have the 350 grain monometal. Here we have a piece of the jacket from the 400 grain DGS. Here we have the 400 grain TSX and some jacket material associated with it. And then here we have the 400 grain DGX bonded. Up here we got some copper fragments, and then over here we got some lead fragments. So I want to just give you guys a close-up look. This is the 350 grain monometal, and you could see that pretty much it was reduced to nothing. Very, very little of this bullet is left after hitting that plate. Look at that, guys. That is just insane. Pretty much most of the bullet is just gone, you know. Look at that. Probably like 60% of the bullet is gone. So that's why you got to be very careful when you do these types of tests, because these fragments are going to be going somewhere, and I couldn't find them in the plate as you guys saw. So they must have ricocheted and flew out somewhere. Here we have some sharp pieces of copper, and you do not want this to get embedded into you. This is why you want to keep a good distance if you're going to do a test like this. So here's some more of these copper chunks, probably from the monometal. I'm guessing from the monometal, because the monometal probably just exploded because it's a solid, so probably just broke apart into chunks, but that's just my theory. So these are all the copper pieces that I found. This is all I could find from the DGS, just a little bit of the jacket. You can see this is the base of the bullet. So look at that, guys. That is just crazy. That is just insane. You can see some of the lead that was bonded to the copper there. Check that out. But this is the 400 grain Dangerous Game solid. Nothing left of it. Look at that. Crazy, guys. And this solid, I've penetrated 26 2x10s, 3 feet of Douglas fir. That's pretty crazy, so it's definitely not a lightweight. I've penetrated through 75 sheets of plywood with this bullet, with this round. And for this level 4 plate to just reduce that solid to just a little piece like this is just really impressive. Here we have the TSX, 400 grain TSX. Look at that chunk of copper. It looks kind of cool, actually. Look at that. That looks pretty crazy. Check that out, guys. It almost looks like a precious metal or something. It looks like a gem or some kind of rock that you would find somewhere in like Utah. But look at how it just completely flattened out the TSX. That just looks completely insane. Look at that. And then here we have 2 chunks of copper. I'm guessing these are from the TSX as well. Look at that, guys. That just looks crazy. And then here we have the DGX bonded, and kind of looks similar to the TSX, just completely flattened out. Look at that. So pretty cool. And the lead is actually still bonded to the jacket, which is pretty impressive. Now, when they originally made these DGX bullets, they did not bond them. And a lot of safari hunters complained that the jacket would separate from the core. But to all you guys out there that are haters of the DGX bonded, as you see, they can still hold together even after hitting a level 4 plate. You can see the lead is still bonded to the jacket. Look at that. It's pretty crazy. So very efficient bonding process. And again, this is a steel jacketed bullet. So pretty crazy. And then here we have chunks of lead here. Look at all these lead fragments. Look at that, guys. That's just crazy. So That's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know any suggestions you have for future tests with the 416 Ruger. Let me know in the comments. But that's pretty much it. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.